The Get Down is brought to you by Digital Music Pool. Digital Music Pool is the ultimate record pool for professional DJs looking for the hottest tracks and exclusive hits updated daily in an easy-to-use platform. You can find exclusive edits from myself, Cream, Adam B., Andrew Marks, Angelo the Kid, Armin Averu, Chumpian, Dan FX, Castra, Pat C, and Samus J only on DMP. And we're giving you a chance to try their service for just $9.99 for the first month. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down or Cream Instagram pages, create an account, and enter the promo code CREAM at checkout for your discounted month. DMP is my go-to record pool for new and exclusive music to play in my sets. So become a member for just $9.99 for the first month with the code CREAM and check it out for yourself. Click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down or Cream Instagram pages to sign up now. You will not be disappointed. If you love listening to the Get Down, you will love the video version of our show on YouTube even more. With all new audio and video upgrades, we've taken the show to the next level. On YouTube, you get to see our facial expressions, hand gestures, and real passion we have for this industry and for helping you grow your DJ business. Click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down Instagram page to watch the podcast now or search Get Down DJs on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate if you subscribe to our channel, like, and comment any questions you might have that we could bring up on the show. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 147th episode of The Get Down, brought to you by Digital Music Pool. My name's Cream.
Gary W. here.
How you doing, Gar? Good to see you.
You know, it's good to be back. Good to be doing this. Had a long weekend, friends in town. I feel like it's constant down here. It's always somebody in town. It's exhausting.
Yeah, you're in a vacation area, right? So like every time people come down, they hit you up, and it's
just entertaining constantly.
It's a lot, for sure.
It was fun. Had a good time. Played a lot of golf. How was the weekend of work? Was there work this weekend? I don't even remember what you did. Where you played?
You know, it all sort of runs together out here.
Oh yeah, you're at Ashford Friday.
I was local. I was local this week.
Steve, yeah, we had Even Steve there on Saturday, which was awesome.
Yeah, we got Even Steve working a little bit out here now. He's
I like
here.
It.
Which is cool. He's been popping out a lot and showing love to all the DJs, checking out all the spots. He popped up on me Friday at Ashford because he was playing there the next night, so he wanted to check out like the vibe of the room, which was cool. Yeah. And like Ashford was a real open format set, which was kind of refreshing. I've been subscribing to a bunch of Patreon, like just DJs and artists that I like, and I've really been focusing on some of the more hip hop style guys, just to like get some new blends, remixes, stuff into my set, specifically for some of these open format sets that I'm still playing. And it like really reinvigorated me. I got a bunch of eccentric remixes and edits, Nick Bike, some conflict stuff. So like that,
I got to jump on. I got to jump on conflicts. I haven't. I don't have anything of his. I don't believe. So
that for sure helped me just give me a little like inspiration and some new music to get excited about playing. And like, even if a lot of it was for early in the night, it was just nice to have.
Yeah.
So you guys use those Patreons, man, like $5 or $10 a month, and you get 5, 6, 7 of those. It could really kind of add some new life to your sets, number one, but also it's a lot of music that's not out on the record pool. So it gives you a way to set yourself apart a little bit. And I named a couple of the hip hop guys, but I know like Chumpian, Chunky Dip, and Jesse James have the Only Tunes, which is a dope one. Beatbreaker's got one. Shout to Beatbreaker. Been commenting on a lot of our stuff. And
I know, big shout.
Shouting us out. So shout to Beatbreaker. We got to get him back on the show for sure. He was like one of our first guests.
I know, that was middle of the pandemic. We definitely got to get him back because he's been rolling pretty hard. Obviously, since then.
Him and Rick were two of our first guests. I feel like we need to have both of those guys back on here.
Man, have them together. That'd be entertaining.
All right. So let's jump in here. And This is a topic that I've heard Crooked bring up a couple times on the Road podcast. Like, they haven't really gone into it deeply, but they've brought it up where more recently, last episode we talked about how there's so many DJs and you have to like pick through the crowd and figure out who's good for your venue or for nightlife, for your market. I think we're seeing more and more DJs take on the role of entertainment director or booker. And, DJs have had this role previously, but I feel like it's more and more and more we're seeing it. And partly, I think it's to fish through the crowd, right? Like, how many DJs are hitting up the venues, and how would an owner or manager really know who's a right fit, who's had enough experience to play the room? Like, I think DJs can navigate that because they know the market and they know the DJs in the market better than most people.
I agree with that. I think we're exposed to it so firsthand. So like, obviously we know who's booking where and when. But I think we're seeing it more and more because DJing has become so approachable and has become so just available to more people. So you're having more and more DJs, and you're right. Somebody has to kind of sift through the bullshit.
Yeah.
And when you're running a business, something such as a restaurant or bar, and you're dealing with a million other things, like, you don't have time at this point to do all of that legwork. That's a full-time job in itself. We do this for a living, and like, there's still a high percentage of DJs that I have no idea who they are. And they might just be from the North Jersey area, right? Like, because there are just so many.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up with. And sometimes and I know what it's like, because with talking with some of the ownership, they're saying like there's constantly DJs walking through the door giving their business cards or giving their Instagram handles. And, we get forwarded all of that information, but that's why we do what we do is so that we can be that buffer in between, hey, am I just going to randomly put this guy on, or, you guys can kind of vet this dude out or this girl out and, make a decision on whether that's a smart relationship or not.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of like fake it till you make it out there that sometimes people that aren't in this world might not necessarily know what's real and what's not, kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm thinking of one. So Dramos is a real funny story about how he got his start. He was one of those guys who just walked in and handed it was a CD at the time to the owner, Dave. Dave listened to it, and Dave was a fan of music. He was an owner that was also a big fan of music. And he actually got booked that way. That, I think, is becoming less and less likely for you to just cold walk into a place and get booked. I don't think that is really a thing anymore, because there are processes in place to weed out the BS, like I said. So yeah, I think DJs, we know what's going to work in that room. We know how to see through the fake followers and see through, are you really a working DJ? Are you not? And then we all have relationships that we can then ask other DJs, hey, do you know this guy? How is he? Or this girl, how is she? And, should we use her here? Is this a good fit for this bar or nightclub? And if not, like, what is a good fit? And I feel like it's all that legwork. It's all that stuff that I just talked about that owners don't want to do.
Right. But we can also like go on a SoundCloud and see what kind of music they're creating or mixes that they're putting out. If they have live sets up, you listen to parts of the live set to see how the mixing is. And there's just some due diligence that I think we can do that many like in-house people wouldn't know how to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's that. And then there's the way that we book too. It's like, all right, well, come out and hang out, meet the guys and show love. And then you get to know like personality traits, and you get to know who that person is, as opposed to somebody who's just cold walking in, and you hire somebody that may or may not get too drunk or isn't really professional or just really has no idea what he's doing with the equipment, let's say. Just, I don't know, just like basic things like that. We at least, and then us as DJs also have a network, like in case something happens, or, there's always a fallback. What if this person doesn't show up,
Yeah.
There's just a million different things that go along with it that makes more sense for DJs to do this job than to leave it upon a manager or owner.
Yeah. I've taken on this role, and you look at like Pigpen in Detroit and RM in Boston and Will Graley in DC, and like there's so many DJs that have this role now, and I don't know. I like it. I think it's. I just think that we can create a better lineup than a non-DJ can create.
I agree with that. Because we understand do musical styles do DJ styles go together? Would it be really cool to have different styles back to back? Whereas like I said, management and ownership, you're worried about everything else. You're worrying about tables. You're worrying, your bottle service. You're worrying about food costs. You're worrying about all types of other things that don't have to do with entertainment. And having an entertainment director in place that is a DJ that knows all of this stuff like the back of their hand, it's a work smarter, not harder for the ownership.
Yeah. I think where there's a real advantage would be really like a DJ is able to kind of spot who's that next wave, right? Who are the next couple DJs that we need to be working with, because they're gonna probably level up and move to the next stage of their career. It's like targeting that talent and starting to create that relationship and get those people in your room early, so that as they grow, this place at home is a place that they want to be at. I think that's a really important thing. And I think also being able to target DJs from outside of this general area. For example, we bring some DJs up from Philly. We're bringing DJs in from New York City. We have brought some DJs from outside the market, but like very specific on who those people are. And I've DJ'd with all of them and heard them play and know that they can play our room kind of thing,
I think this is also a testament of the positivity that has started to go around in the DJ community within the last 5 to 8 years. Whereas it's not as cutthroat as it once was. It's now, let's work together so everybody gets a piece and everybody can eat. You can maybe travel a little bit and maybe go DJ on vacation and cut the cost a little bit or whatever it might be. Something that obviously with the advent of social media being such a huge part of our industry, it makes it easier to do all of these things. And communicate with people that are not from your market. But I feel like that positivity shift in the DJ culture really has helped elevate, having more and more people, more and more DJs involved with each other.
Yeah, the community has definitely shrunk a little bit. And I think as far as, using social media and be able to connect with people outside of your local area, and it's just easier to connect with people, right? And it's easier to have conversations and ask people to come on podcast and ask people to jump on edit packs and remixes and all these different things. It's really been nice to see the collaboration. And we started our business based on collaboration and using collaboration as a way to grow together instead of individually. And it's been really successful for us. And I hope more DJs are, taking that mind state for sure.
I know our younger guys are definitely, we have like 5 to 8 guys that go and support each other like weekly, which is like really awesome to see. And they're all around the same age. So it just works out and they love to go do their Sunday fun day thing. And, they're just, and they're even going to support
Marquee Wednesdays.
Marquee Wednesday is another one. And they're even going out to support friends of ours, such as Rick. And I know they were at Somewhere Nowhere over the weekend and Rick was playing and that looked like a lot of fun. I was super jealous. So it's nice to see our guys do it. And hopefully it stays contagious and kind of grows even just outside of our group. Right. And like we said, we've seen it a bit because of the social media thing and the community shrinking. So.
Yeah, I would say one other thing that if you are a DJ that is trying to take on more of a role as a booker, or you already have, something that I think you really have to be conscious of is you're not booking DJs that are going to help you the most. You're booking DJs that are going to be a best fit for the venue. If you want to keep your job, that's how you have to look at it, right? And sure, there are ways where you can bring certain DJs in that maybe help create a relationship with another DJ that could potentially help you down the line. But if you're not doing what's best for the venue, you're going to lose that job pretty quickly. Because if you're putting the wrong DJs into the venue, then the venue's not making money. Customers are complaining or leaving. Bartenders aren't making the money they're normally making, and they're complaining to management. And then you're kind of out the door. So there's a very fine line of, using your booking power to further relationships compared to just booking the right DJs for the right rooms.
It's a hard balance because you do selfishly want to use those DJs that can also help you, right? Like that's your initial thought, but like you have to look long game. You have to look big picture. And big picture and long game is, well, you want to have longevity with having that booking power in order to bring more and more DJs in. If you screw yourself early on, you're not going to have that booking power, and then you're not going to be able to grow more and more relationships, right?
Right.
So you
could potentially be hurting your own DJ career as well if you lose your opportunity in the venue that you are booking,
Yeah. So it's a fine balance. You have to think about things from a ownership and management perspective as well. And then maybe you think about it in ways that, okay, maybe this DJ that is going to benefit my DJ career, maybe he fits better on a Friday night at this venue or a Saturday night. And you have to figure out like where you could use those people usually, because like the Thursdays, the Fridays, the Saturdays, and Sunday parties could all be very, very different depending on where you're playing, right? So maybe you use those people that are, maybe, this guy on a Thursday would be amazing, because this style just works better. I think so. You just have to be smart about how you're going about booking,
Yeah. The other part of it would be just communicating with ownership and management about why this person is a good fit and how they can help the venue. Maybe it's bringing new customers in. Maybe it's bringing a new perspective. Or maybe it's just, hey, this is an amazing DJ and they're going to do a really good job in our room kind of thing.
Right.
So I think that's also an important part of it, where maybe if you are trying something new or bringing someone in from another market or adjacent market, it's just like, hey, this DJ plays XYZ venues. I've heard them play. I've DJ'd with them. They're going to do a great job,
Yeah. Do you think
that's what we do? We do that every day, right? In our booking agency.
Yeah.
We're putting the right DJ in the right venue. And that's the core of what we do and how we can be successful.
Right. It's not always the quote unquote best DJ. It's the best DJ for the venue.
Right.
100% of the time. Right. Like that's when we pitch to a new venue, that's how we pitch it. Right. We're going to work with you to find the best people for your venue. Right. You're not always going to get Gary W., DJ Cream, because maybe we don't fit the venue, right? Like I know for a fact there's a venue that we book that I don't fit at all.
We've had those conversations a lot with venues where it's like, Gary's style doesn't fit this room,
right?
But it does fit this other room, or Cream's style doesn't fit this room. And that's why I'm not here, not because I don't want to be here. Right. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for you. It doesn't make sense for me.
I would never put myself in that situation, Even if I had to take a night off, I would still not put myself, like if it was to take a night off or go forcefully play this venue, I would take the night off, because nobody wants to be in that position. We've all been in a position where we've been DJing a room that it's uncomfortable, it doesn't fit. Don't put somebody else in that position, right? Like you don't want to burn a relationship because you set this person up for failure because you're trying to create a relationship.
Right.
You have to think about it from all angles.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in the past, but if you're a DJ and you're trying to grow and you're reaching out to certain venues, like don't reach out. If you're an EDM DJ, don't reach out to the hip hop venue to get booked. Or if you're a Latin artist and that's your lane, don't reach out to the tech house venue if it doesn't necessarily make sense. If your resume is all purely one style of venues, it's going to be a lot harder to break into another style of venue,
I've had multiple DJs come up to me at one of our venues and give their card, and they were like straight up hip hop DJs, and I'm like, do you understand like the room that you're trying to come here and play? Like, they're asking to come play like a venue that just doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. Nothing makes me turn away and be like, I don't want to ever book this person because they're trying to get into a venue that doesn't fit their DJ style. Right. So you have, just because the place is the best place, maybe it might be the best place in that city or the top 3 places in that city to go play. Well, if it doesn't fit your style, you shouldn't want to go play there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
So like I said, like I've had like 5 guys and girls give me their cards. I'm like, you're never going to fit this room. This doesn't make sense. Like how am I going to hire somebody that can't look at themselves and be like, well, I'm not going to fit there. You know, it's mind boggling to me.
I think a really good exercise for everybody listening would be if you're looking to level up, or if you're looking to break into a market or break out of your market, create a list. Go do your homework, like sit down and research the market that you're trying to break into. Write down all the venues. See if you could find out who the bookers are for each of those venues. Go watch the videos. Go see what other DJs are getting booked there and see if it's a fit for you before you're blindly reaching out to try and get a booking at that place, or you're going there to hand a card to somebody, Do your homework. When you do your homework and you're prepared, you're putting yourself in a better place to actually get the booking or create the networking relationship, So do your homework. Don't just blindly shoot your shots at every place that's out there.
Like I said, just because it's the spot doesn't mean you need to go play there.
Right. And if you're a DJ that's further along and you're looking to break into another market, or you're looking to position yourself as one of the better DJs in your own market, you have to be really strategic about which places you go after, right? Because a lot of times if you play one place, you might not be able to play the other place. So what's the place that is maybe the best in the market that I'm the best fit for? And that's the place that you go after first, And then if you run into a dead end, or you can't get in there, or, whatever, there's no opportunity, then you go to the next place. And this is the second best place that fits my style and, where I'm trying to be. And I think that's how you need to think about it and kind of attack your market,
I agree 100%.
Not everybody's getting booked out fully by just being a DJ and getting people to hit you up, There are some months where even I have to go and actively hit people up to fill my calendar. Normally it's stuff that's out of market, I'm trying to continue to grow.
Right.
But you can't just rely on people coming to you to fill your calendar, or to book the places that you want to play at. You kind of have to go on the attack sometimes.
I think all the time. I think you got to
all the time. Right.
Stay on the attack.
Right.
You have to stay on the attack and do it in a way that you're not being annoying, but be persistent. Because once you get lazy and you get complacent, you get stuck, and you stop growing. And you and I both know that more than anything. And you have to kind of you have to have a long game. You have to have an idea about where do I want to be in a year? What do I want to be in 3 years? And if you're content with if you're getting older and you're content with just playing the local places and you're content with where you're at, then that's fine. You don't have to be so crazy and on the attack. But if you're a growing DJ and you're coming up and you still want to play better and better places, you have to be dipping your toes in the water everywhere.
Right. And to bring the conversation kind of full circle, right? Doing that homework and being prepared when you step into those places to have conversations with the booker is going to set yourself up to actually get booked there. The bookers are going to look at you and be like, oh, this person actually did their homework, and maybe this is someone I want to work with because they're not just blindly coming in here.
Right.
They know who the booker is. They know the vibe of the place. They know, they know something beyond that's a really dope room and I need to be in there because everybody wants to be in there kind of thing.
Right. Right. Yeah. So.
All right, let's sort of transition. Something that, the core of what we do and who we work with a lot are young DJs, right? Beginner DJs or couple years in DJs. And, when we started our course during COVID, Get Down University, it was all new DJs, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've had some people reach out and be like, hey, can you talk more about like, I'm a brand new beginner DJ and like, what are some things that I can do to like break into the market, right? And I know we just talked about some of this stuff, but as a beginner DJ, like, what are some things that they should be thinking about and they should be doing to set themselves up for success?
I think establishing realistic expectation from day one is the most important thing, right? I think you just need to know that you are at the beginning probably going to have to eat shit a little bit and play some really bad, what are going to look like bad gigs. They're going to be very local, very, just very what would be considered a bad gig, unfortunately.
You just got to be happy to be there in the beginning.
You got to play anything and everything when you're first starting out. You got to go play a communion. Guess what? You're going to learn something about yourself while you're playing there. You know what I mean? You got to go play an old man local bar. It's predominantly like 50 to 60-year-old guys getting drunk at the bar, and like you got to play a bunch of Zeppelin and stuff. Go and do that because
right.
you're gonna learn new tactics and new ways to play music.
Most of the time, those are the types of parties that you're going to book when you first start, right? It's going to be the private events, like the backyard parties. You're not booking $5,000 weddings at that point.
Right.
So you're going to be doing the low-end private events, and you're going to be doing like those super local bars that just want to have a DJ kind of thing. And you're playing to all ages, all styles of music. And that's great because you get that experience of having to deal with all that stuff and eat some shit a little bit, you know? We've seen the young DJs that we've worked with who've been the most successful started DJing when they were 16 and they started doing private events with family or friends or whatever. Because like you learn how to read a room and you learn how to play all music, not just what's popular right now.
Right.
And you deal with those shitty rooms and like you earn respect for the people, or you how do I say this? You kind of appreciate the fact of like, when I do make the next step up, like, wow, I had to do some stuff that really sucked. And now I'm in this better place.
Angelo the Kid is jumping off the top of my head right now because I'm thinking about where he started with us and kind of what he does now on a weekly basis. Right. And, he was playing Pilsner House on top of a, wine barrel, DJing a couple times a month for us, doing that. And now he's the resident at Trio in Charlotte, and he's grown exponentially. But like, I know that's like a few and far between, but everybody starts somewhere, right? And you have to go to those gigs and you grin and bear it. And like I said, you use them as learning. You use them as a learning process. You use it as, okay, let me see what the bartender's like, and maybe you get exposed to new music, and that's how you grow your library and just grow your DJ skills as a whole. And when you're first starting out, things are going to happen. Like, you're going to get canceled last minute. Maybe you're only going to play, you're going to set up everything and you're going to play for an hour and you're going to get canceled because it's slow in the room. Your check's not going to come for a month or 6 weeks or 2 months.
Or they're going to tell you you're getting one rate and you get a different rate. Or you don't get paid at all. Or
right. All of those things has happened to me 100%, and it was you take it in stride as a learning experience. Hopefully you're in a space where like maybe you have another job and that's not your main source of income. Yes, would it suck to lose a night's gig? Absolutely. Right. But not everybody has representation like a Get Down DJ group or another DJ group to help combat that. A lot of times when you're starting out, you're starting out alone, and you do have to take the precaution in ensuring that things are in place that you don't get screwed over. Right. I think now more than ever, with emails and text messages and things like that, try to get verbal agreements, but always try to get everything written down. Okay. Like, so let's get into like finances real quick. I think this is a good place to get into like financial stuff as a young as a young DJ.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I want to come back and kind of go through some of the stuff that I dealt with when I started, because I wrote down a list of all the various things that have happened to me, especially when I first started, that I'm sure young DJs are dealing with still right now as they're trying to like navigate the environment. So yeah, go ahead. Let's talk financials a little bit.
Because this is a big one, because I feel like this is really where young DJs get taken advantage of, right? You get told it's one rate, and then they're like, oh, well, the bar didn't do well. This is the rate you're going to get, right? Hey, you're going to get $300, and all of a sudden now you're getting 200. Well, make sure you have that initial rate written down somewhere. Is it an email? Is it a text message? You know, generally nobody's using a contract, right? You're not writing a contract up for a bar or nightclub space. So you want to have some kind of written agreement that you can fall back on.
So if you have a phone conversation or an in-person conversation with someone and they offer you a gig, what you do is you take notes on it, right? As soon as you finish that conversation, you text it out to the person, or you email it out to the person like, hey, great talking to you. I just wanted to confirm, here's the date, here's the venue, here's the time, here's the money, right? So now you have a receipt, so to speak, right? You have an invoice. You have something that when you do the gig and they're like, oh, well, I thought we said it was only $200. You're like, no, we had this conversation on this date. I sent you a text with all the information and you confirmed, kind of thing.
You have to cover your ass in that way. All right. Because
we still do that, Gary. Like, we have to do that.
Because the he said, she said doesn't work. Because these people, just like our first conversation, these people are dealing with a lot more than just booking a DJ, right?
Not all the time. It comes from a bad place too. You know, like people who are booking sometimes. Like I'm thinking about in New York, and we're here. There's certain people that book a ton of shit. So like maybe they just made a mistake, or they forgot, or whatever. You know, so it doesn't always come from a bad place. It's happened with us, right? Like we'll tell a DJ something and maybe we screwed up and we pay them the wrong amount, and they could just be like, yo, I thought it was supposed to be this. And we look back and we're like, oh shit, we did mess up. So things happen. All the time. It's not always from a negative place too. I just want to say that.
That definitely does happen, right? Where one thing's discussed, and if you don't have, you need that written fallback.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. That written fallback will also cover you in getting canceled. Like, hey, the guy hitting you up and be like, oh, I double booked and now it's Friday night and they're canceling you for Saturday. You know, it's like, well, we had a discussion. This is kind of on you. And like, you know, how can you make it right? You know, I think I've always followed up with getting canceled or having somebody being quote unquote double booked, having a venue double book me. I would then ask, hey, can you book me again to make up for the lost finances, right? Would you agree with that?
I would. And it's very important how you as the DJ respond in these situations, because you can very quickly destroy a relationship and never get booked again based on how you react in these situations.
Yeah, we know that. Especially things like getting canceled and losing money. It can be a very emotional thing, right? I think it's take a deep breath, step back, and think about how you're going to respond in a way that's respectful, but you want to get your point across that you're disappointed. And I think a good way is to open a door, like I said, and say, maybe let's make this right down the road. Maybe I can get another booking, sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way to do it, right? Is ask, hey, I understand this sucks. I had a bunch of people coming out. I really wanted to play this show. I was excited. It's super last minute. I get it. Shit happens. Right. Is there a way? Can we lock in something for next month? Do you have an opening for 2 months down the road? Like, try to lock in that follow-up date immediately.
Right.
And if they don't respond to you, or if they're like, yeah, we could do it, blah, 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 but they sort of blow you off, then you have to follow up. And you have to follow up like with it after the weekend, not on Monday, because DJs are not trying to deal with that shit on Monday. On Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, not on Friday, when DJs are all preparing for their weekends and bookers are worrying about 250 bookings they have.
Right.
You have a small window of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, handle your business and do your follow-ups. I do the same. I'm not bothering DJs or bookers on a Friday or a Monday usually, maybe a Monday afternoon, but not a Friday. or Saturday
Yeah.
or Sunday.
I think it's important to remember. It's a good point. Monday's a tough day for a lot of DJs because you know what? That's technically DJs Saturdays. You know what I mean? It's like that's their day off. It's like everybody else has Saturday and Sunday off. DJs will usually take off Monday.
Yeah, like venue managers and bookers sometimes are working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday's their first day off in 5 days, kind of thing.
Right. So you have to be careful with how much you load up on the booker on Monday, like how much you ask of them on a Monday.
Yeah, and guys, I really can't hammer the point home of how you approach these situations is so incredibly important. There's been so many DJs where maybe we made a mistake or something happened or I asked them to do something and their reaction was out of like anger and like not being flexible, and those people are immediately removed from any consideration to ever get booked again. Like ever.
You don't want to make the booker's life any harder than it already is. It's hard to balancing talent and balancing egos and dealing with ownership and dealing with management, and you're dealing with a lot of people that are just have different personalities. Realistically, at the end of the day, the one thing that you could do is be easy to work with.
Right. It doesn't take any skill, energy. It's something very simple that you can do.
You can text, all nice and be like, okay, let's line something up, and then turn around and vent off to, the person that you vent to. That's fine. Don't do it on a public or a social media space. Do not do it there, because that is a great way to get blackballed, not only by the person and venue that you're dealing with, but also other people in your space. They take note of that. Like, if I see a DJ venting off about a venue that, might have cut him early and he was pissed off about it or didn't handle something the right way or what he felt like would have been the right way, and then vent off on social media, I don't want to book that person.
Yeah.
That just looks like a headache. Right.
Like, what happens if I have to cancel them? They're going to blow up my venue kind of thing, or my booking agency or whatever.
Right. That's a fast way to get blackballed just to get blackballed, period.
Yeah. And Gary, a lot of times this stuff where there's changes or whatever, and the booker's reaching out to ask you to be flexible. A lot of times, like, we're talking about openers / closers. And at the end of the day, like, the headliner is what all of these venues care about, Like, yeah, they might like you and they want you in their building, but at the end of the day, like, they're worried about the headliner, not the opener kind of thing too. So you have to think about it like that, especially when you're talking about the bigger venues or when you're playing with artists, like, and you're worried about getting your name on the flyer. Like, they really, like, they don't care. They're spending $50,000 on an artist. Like, that's what they care about. That's where their time and energy is going, not to the $400 opener or whatever.
Right. But I think on the lowest scale, guys that are just starting out, you're going to constantly be challenged. There's going to be a lot of things that go along with the industry. That's a lot of BS. And I want you to go through now some of the things that you've dealt with.
So as a beginner DJ, I like we talked about, backyard parties, shitty bars. I was lucky because I did get an opportunity to play in a nightclub very early on. And I knew, like, this is where I want to be. And that's where I focus my time and energy, right? So I was trying to grow into the nightclub spaces. And I did a lot of shit for free, for no money, super last minute. People would call me and be like, Kareem, can you open for me in the city at VIP room or whatever? One of the really dope clubs that yeah, absolutely, I'll be there. Or, Kareem, can you open for $150 or $200 or whatever the number was that wasn't good? But when you're doing that, I dealt with set time change where I thought I was the opener and I was actually the closer. And I didn't find out till I got there at 9:30 and there was another DJ there. Or, Kareem, it's your birthday and your set time is from 11 to 1. And then you get there and there's 3 DJs there that are supposed to play from 11 to 1. And you have to figure it out. And all your friends are there to see you from 11 to 1.
Yeah.
I've had situations where I show up to a venue and they're like, Cream, we really need you to go to this other venue because the DJ didn't show and I need you to run downtown or I need you to run uptown or whatever. Funny money for sure, where I never got paid, or I was told I was going to get paid a certain amount and I was paid $100 less and never saw the difference. Millions of times, my friends can't get in. Hey, Cream, you have a guest list. Your friends can get in before this time. They get there and I'm DJing and they can't get in. Or they get there and they have a bar minimum per person of $150. Or they have to buy a table for $1,000. So this is all stuff that you're going to deal with at some point. And it sucks. And it's just part of being a young beginning DJ that sort of has to take some of these knocks. Hopefully you don't have to, but I'm sure one of these things that I just mentioned is going to happen to you. And take it in stride, deal with it the best way possible, stay positive. Like Gary said, don't blast the people anywhere publicly. It's the worst thing you could do. And just show these people that you're flexible, you're a good DJ, you're willing to work hard. And if you don't want to work with them anymore, that's on you, kind of thing. But we've all been through it, you know? You're going to go through it.
You want to laugh?
What?
My last DJ set, I walked into the building, started put my bag down. The manager looks at me and goes, "We have a DJ today?" DJ equipment wasn't out, nothing. I just got canceled because I think that they didn't want to bring the DJ equipment out. Yeah. In all honesty, and I just stood there and I was like, "This happens. Like, this is going to happen." And it's happened a million times before, and it's not the last time it's going to happen again. You know?
Yeah.
So it still happens. Like, you know, this many years in, it's still happening. And it's usually those off gigs too, right? Like if you're booked in an afternoon, or if you're booked on like a Sunday evening, or you're booked on a happy hour Friday or whatever it might be, like the likelihood of those sometimes getting manipulated in some capacities is more likely than a Friday night, Saturday night gig.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you need to kind of go into some of those gigs where you're not expecting those to get canceled, but if they do, it's more like, okay, we take those in stride a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because in what we do, those are the gigs that we see go and get changed and get manipulated more than not.
Right. Nobody wants to lose their Friday or Saturday night gigs ever. But the other stuff, you know, it sucks just the same, but yeah, at least it's not a Friday or Saturday.
Right. Right. So
yeah, man, like younger DJs, you're going to eat shit in some situations, and you just have to think long term, and you have to think, is this someone or a venue that I really want to work with, or is it more of a headache than it's worth? And if it's more of a headache than it's worth, and you walk away and you don't have to deal with it, and you find a place that treats you better, you know, or you find a booker or promoter or whoever that treats you better.
It takes a little while to establish that knack for having an understanding if this is a place that I want to work with or not. Like sometimes you young DJs, you'll learn that when you walk into a place, like something will feel off. You know who does business the right way. And then once you kind of see people being a little shady and doing something that doesn't feel right, you'll start to know immediately. Like I think you and I are good at walking into a space and be like, oh yeah, no, this is not a place that we want to work for.
Yeah, but it took us a long time to get to that point.
A long time. That's what I'm saying. Like you'll start to over time understand what, you know, you'll get that feel of what feels right and what doesn't.
Right. And I know, especially when you're starting out, the drive and the hunger to get bookings and grow quickly, like you're willing to put up with more than if you're a more seasoned DJ, for sure. And like you said, maybe you just don't know because you haven't gone through it yet, you know, and you kind of have to live through some of that stuff to realize, well, like that wasn't really a good situation looking back, or that is a person I really want to work with because they really took care of me in these weird situations that we had to go through together, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard, guys. It's really hard. Believe me. You know, Gary and I still deal with situations where it's like, I don't know what to do. So thinking back to when we were first starting, I understand how hard it is, and, you know, trying to break in and play the better venues. It's hard. It's hard work. It's you deal with a lot.
Can I tell a quick story before we move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of our first places that we booked, and this is how kind of naive that you can be as a young booker or as a young DJ. One of the first places we were booking there for a while, and our DJ equipment that we used to store there went missing. Remember this?
Yeah.
Our DJ equipment went missing. We were like, F this place. Somebody took it. It never got returned. We took it as an L, and we still continued to book there. Now, like, would we do that now in the space that we're at? No, we would probably walk away, blow the place, tell them what was what. But like back then, we were so hungry to grow, and we were trying to be patient, and we still wanted to continue to book DJs just in any capacity. And we kind of let it slide. And should we have, in retrospect? Absolutely not. Was that a learning experience? Yes, absolutely it was. So that's kind of how naive that you can be, like, on the come up. And you have to kind of be aware of yourself being naive or not, right?
Right.
So
that place then went on to screw us a second time.
Oh my God, of course they did. Of course they did.
Now that I think about it.
Of course they did. Because you know what? That was the red flag, and we chose to ignore the red flag, right? And then we continued to book, and then we got screwed again. And then stupidly, years later, we entertained working with them again. Entertained it like idiots.
Right, guys. So we're still making mistakes, and we still are making decisions based on wanting to grow, right? And we all do it. We still do it. Gary and I still do it. And you're going to do it, and you're going to make mistakes. But like Gary just said, it's really important to know when to like pull the ejection button and get the fuck out of there.
And this is where it's important. If you're just kind of riding solo, just to have that person. We say this all the time, but have that person that you talk to, that you trust, that kind of knows the industry, that you could bounce like, hey, this is what happened. Where do you think we go in this situation, and kind of talk it out. That's what Kareem and I talk out all of these things when they happen, and because you like to get a couple different perspectives into how to deal with something. Don't leave the venue and jump on your social media and kill a place. Don't do that, please. Stop doing that. I've seen a couple of people do that. Stop doing that. Terrible.
All right, let's actually let's put a bow on this. So DJs, young DJs that are looking to level up. If you guys have questions or you're dealing with these certain situations, hit us up. Like, we can help you out. If you have a question or you don't know how to handle a situation, if you don't have somebody to go to, hit up Gary or myself, and we can help you out. Or if you have a question, we can kind of help you go through it. DM us, whatever. I think that's an easy way. And actually, one other thing that I'd like to do, because there is someone in New York City right now taking advantage of young DJs, and they have created this scam where they're DMing DJs, not even just from tri-state New York City. They're DMing DJs from all over the place. Pigpen from Detroit hit me up and was like, Kareem, do you know this person? Is this like legit? And basically the scam is this person is hitting people up and saying, hey, do you want to open at this amazing New York City venue like Nebula or Somewhere Nowhere or Marquee or all the best places in New York for this amazing DJ like Steve Aoki or Bassjackers or Dom Dollar or all these huge names. And the scam is, well, I will give you a slot, but you have to buy 20 tickets for $500 in order to get your slot. They have a contract. They have this whole thing. And it's this guy that poses, or I guess he was a DJ / promoter, and now he's on drugs or gambling or doing something that he is desperate to scam people for money. And he's sending contracts, the whole nine. It's like an intricate scam. And people are sending this person money, and then he's blocking them, blocking their phone number, blocking their Instagram, disappearing and taking the $500, and the DJs have no gigs to show for it.
Yeah.
So I just want to make you guys aware of this. It could be any DJ in any market. If someone's asking you to pay money up front for a DJ booking or to buy tickets or any of that crap, absolutely do not do it. Do not do it. It's a scam. At no point should anyone ever ask you to pay to play anywhere.
Agreed.
And that's it.
Good PSA.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's like a lawsuit happening and a bunch of DJs here in New York and New Jersey that are trying to bring a lawsuit. So if you've been scammed by this person, you could also reach out and we can connect you with the people that are organizing this lawsuit or whatever's happening. But
yeah,
just want to throw that out there, guys. All right, let's talk music.
Let's do it.
We've been talking a lot about this 140 BPM techno trend, but we were talking about it the other day, and like it's sort of a lot of trance music that's being sort of labeled techno, right?
I'm like an old trance junkie, like a early 2000s trance junkie. I love it. Like it's what I listen to when I go on my runs. And as my trance Spotify playlist is playing, I'm like, this sounds like a lot of the music that's out now that's labeled techno, right?
It's so hard, labeling the subgenres of all this music.
So I have now been following this guy. I don't know if you've seen him on Instagram. He kind of like throws old records on, like in his robe, the bald guy.
Nah, I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh my God. He dances really funny, but he plays really great music. Like, and it's a lot of vinyl that he's playing. It's a lot of classic vinyl. He gives you like a little backstory of like the samples and whatnot. He gives like a little history of it. And it's kind of got me thinking, and he kind of got me thinking that like a lot of this stuff is really like the techno movement of right now is what trance was. But I guess we keep seeing this, I don't want to call it mislabeling, this relabeling of house styles. But I think it also, in doing a little bit of research over the past couple of days, is that this has happened since the early 90s and probably even before that, right? Where they were calling certain things like liquid house that was also labeled something before it was liquid house, and now liquid house doesn't even exist anymore, and it's probably called something else. And we started with 2006, 7, and 8 electro, which is probably labeled something completely different at this point. So it's kind of funky how in the house music genre as a whole, as an umbrella, these micro labels start to kind of maneuver about. But one thing that I said to you is that like, because it sounds so early 2000s trance, I would love to see Tiesto get back in the game and do a couple tracks in this style, because he was like the king of the king.
I feel like he will. He has to. No?
What's taking him so long?
I don't know.
He's got ghost producers out the ass.
I think I've been seeing some video of him playing more in that style at some of the festivals. I mean, I know it's just become more popular in general, but like Tiesto playing some of his classics in his current festival sets, which is pretty cool, But music is cyclical, right? Like trends, subgenres come and go, things get relabeled. We're constantly seeing things come into style and then go out of style. And maybe we've been around long enough to see now this style come back, right? Like it's interesting to see for sure.
Never ever count a genre out.
Yeah. Because
I counted this genre out 3-4 years ago. Within that small period of time, because I would always listen to 140 trance. Right? Like it didn't sound weird to me, but it did start to sound a little too fast for a while there. I'm like, we will never be able to play this again. I literally thought that not long ago, 3 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now it's like just about the norm. But there's so much you can do within house music in general.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could take elements of all of these different styles and make new styles. And then you have to come up with these labels of like, what are we going to call it?
Right. Well, that's what's great about music, right? Because something can be popular and someone can be producing in a certain style, but then take some ideas from another subgenre or another style and incorporate that into whatever's popular right now. And it starts to create this new thing, right? Like I'm sort of thinking about like the future house that sort of then started transitioning more into like a bass house of like a Cheyenne Giles Solano styles almost,
Yeah.
Where tech house that was 126 is now being produced faster, right? 136, 140, and it's bringing back some elements of techno and some elements of trance, but still keeping some of this tech house vibes at the same time. And it's like creating this new thing. I think that's what's amazing about like house music. And that's one of the reasons why I love it, because there's no rules. Like you could kind of do whatever you want, you know? There's not a set way to do things or be successful. And I love that about music in general.
Yeah, I think that is where the real house heads. I think that's where that's where the love lies, right? In the amount of different ways you can go with it. I wish I could remember this guy's page, because he's like no holds barred. Like he'll play anything. Like he is playing like 91 Liquid House, and then he's also playing 2006 trance music, and then he's playing like hard style and drum and bass and like a little bit of everything. And it's like it's refreshing to hear someone not pigeonhole themselves into liking one style and putting that out into the world, you know? Not to say he's not like he might be a DJ. I don't know. He's more
like maybe
of
an ex-DJ that's just really into the music.
It's nice to see just somebody just absolutely just opening it all up, man. And opening up other people's eyes to so many different genres.
I got to check him out. We got to find him. Once you find him, we'll shout him out on the next pod or something.
I feel like that's something that is very hard to do as a DJ, right? Is to try to show people so many different genres, because you kind of do want to be specific into growing a brand and a sound, right? But that's why I think I find this guy like so refreshing, where it's like he's not pigeonholing himself as a DJ of some sort. Here it is, Fish 56 Octagon. He was doing like 12 posts a day at one point.
Is he like an older dude?
Oh, yeah. Fish 56 Octagon. Older, like British dude, 190,000 followers. Yeah, he's a DJ bookings. Check him out. Anybody that's like into, if you're like if you're a house junkie and a history house junkie, like get into it. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, we'll link to his page in the show notes. I'm going to definitely check him out when we get done here. I think the one thing too, where, you know, we talk a lot about hip hop and party hip hop and whatever else. One of the reasons why some DJs and people who are into hip hop complain about the music, because the sound hasn't changed for so long. It's very repetitive as far as what's popular, you know? Whereas in house music, in the last 10 years, we've seen how many different styles of music come and go or get popular. And it just doesn't happen in hip hop, you know? Like it just doesn't. We've been in this 70 BPM, you know, hi-hats 808 thing for a long time. And it's just kind of, not that all the music that's coming out in hip hop is in that style, but a lot of it is, you know?
We talked about this a little bit. And
yeah. And
it has a little bit something to do with like I think producers becoming cheaper in the hip hop realm, where like the producer used to be part of the highlight package, if you will. You know what I mean? Like you were going to listen to a song for the producer, where I feel like that's become less and less the norm.
It depends, man. In party hip hop, maybe, but like there's still a ton of artists that are doing unique music and good hip hop music. It's just not club music that we're playing in sets, you know? Yeah. I listen to a lot of hip hop in my car, in the gym. I just don't play any of it. Like none of it.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to play unless you're in a hip hop room.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you get a chance to listen to the Kanye album?
I kind of breezed through it. I don't know. I'm sure there's some gems on there that I'm going to like.
Well, a few things, right? There's the Carnival track that's viral on social right now that is hitting in clubs. Original, techno, Jersey Club. I have a bunch of different versions. They all work. Every one of them has worked for me so far in the last couple weeks.
Okay.
From a listener standpoint, there's like classic Kanye sounds on this album. Some of the tracks, there's a handful. You know, it's a little West Coast influence with the Ty Dolla $ign thing. Mm-hmm. Like he's an LA guy, I'm pretty sure, right?
That's a good question.
But yeah, like Kanye's still batshit crazy, and you could hear it in his lyrics for sure. Like he's shot But you
Oh,
still get
man.
those glimpses of like his genius,
Yeah.
as just a creator and as a musician and an artist and a producer.
I don't think that'll always shine through no matter what. Him as a producer, he's an incredible producer, became a good rapper and a great entertainer. Kanye West, one of the greatest shows I ever been to. Hands down. I've been to a lot of shows.
What show did you see? What album era?
I saw him, that infamous Bonnaroo set where he was supposed to come on at 1 a.m. He wound up not coming out till 4 a.m.
That's wild.
And it got so bad that people were pissing in bottles and throwing it at him
Oh my
on stage
God.
because it took him so long. There was like rumors that he was like out at a party in like Western Tennessee and he was getting flown in. Then something else happened to where like his staging wasn't set the way he wanted it. So he waited until it was fixed, and I think he purposely didn't come out until the sun was starting to come up, and he opened the set with "Good Morning" and was absolutely sick.
What a track! What
like
a track!
As the sun's like coming up over the stage, and he's playing "Good Morning" was sick, and I think he purposely did that.
Could be,
but it was like all weekend long was fuck Kanye. Like you'd go and see like whatever the main act was the next night, and there'd be chants fuck Kanye. It was written all over every porta potty on the festival site, spray painted, drawn. Fuck Kanye was the big thing. There was like it was just like a whole thing, and it was an incredible show at the end of the day.
I don't think I've ever seen Kanye. I don't know how. I wish
So
I
many
did. I wouldn't go
so
see
many-
him now, but
Like so many people had left that we got to get like pretty decently close to the stage. It was dope.
is like the Kanye, like you're not allowed to play Kanye thing now officially over? Can we go back to playing like
I never
Can't
stopped
Tell
playing
Me
him.
Nothing and like some of the classic stuff?
I never stopped playing him because in the rooms that I play, if they don't care.
Man, what's your favorite Kanye album? I'm like looking on Spotify right now, and it's so hard to.
I was saying this when I was saying Kanye is one of my favorite all time a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
That every album is so different. Like the first two have similarities, right? College Dropout
Late
and
Registration.
Late Registration. They have very, very, very similar sounds. And then after that, I think it goes kind of off the wheels. The wheels fall off. And
I
you didn't know what you were going to get.
I actually think Graduation might be my favorite Kanye album. And that might be a little controversial, but like, there's just so many, like Good Morning, Champion, Stronger, I Wonder, Good Life, Can't Tell Me Nothing. That's the first 6 songs.
I think that was the tour that I saw.
Flashing Lights, Everything I Am, Homecoming, Barry Bonds, Drunken Hot Girls, The Glory.
Straight classic.
Big Brother,
Straight classic.
Good Night. And then I like 808s too. I just thought 808s was like a super cool, different, new vibe that I just loved.
808s really was great for that time period where I feel like Black Eyed Peas were kind of big at that point and like really, really big. That's when they were massive. And I feel like they kind of shared a similar kind of vibe and sound is like this. It's like dancey kind of a thing happening. And it was good for the time period. Like, yeah, you would have had to live through that time period to really appreciate that album. I think in retrospect, it's good. But it was definitely influential to music at that time.
Yeah, like I had a really, when 808s came out, I don't think I liked it as much. And then like months later, I went back to it, and like I guess because it was so different from what he was doing, it was like I had to vibe it out and think about it, and then like going back and listening, you're like, all right, this is I can mess with this.
I think as a DJ at that time, like I was able to play a bunch of records on there. If I would have to see the track.
Like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was an amazing album.
I loved that. Everything that led up to that album, I loved. Remember Good Fridays? He would put out a track or two every
it was like a freestyle
Friday.
Video, or like
no. He'd put out a track. He'd put out 1 or 2 tracks, and it didn't have to be a Kanye track. It could have been anybody from his camp, right? And they called it Good Fridays. And It would
Yeah,
come out
because
once
it
a
was
week. And I
good
look
music
forward to it
group,
every
right?
week. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, right.
What a dope label.
And the songs that came out on those Fridays were so sick. And some of them made the album, some of them didn't. But I still go back and listen to a lot of those tracks. I remember just being so excited about those coming out weekly. His first album for me, I think, is my favorite.
Is that like the most critically acclaimed? His first, probably, right?
As far as like sales, or
No, just like what do people say is the best Kanye album? Is it College Dropout?
I think the first two. I think when everybody references the quote unquote old Kanye, that's what you're referencing, right? You're referencing those like classic samples that he would use in his production, and all of that stuff that came before that album too. All the work that he did with Jay-Z and Beanie Siegel and Dilated Peoples
Dipset and all the production.
Them, like, all of those great. That was all in that style. That was pre his first album. So.
Can we just talk about the greatness real quick? So, College Dropout 2004, Late Registration 2005, Graduation 2007, 808s and Heartbreak 2008, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy 2010, Watch the Throne 2011, Yeezus, which I don't really remember. Like Bound 2, Black Skinhead, New Slaves, Blood on the Leaves. Okay. I really liked Life of Pablo.
Did you?
Father Stretch My Hands. What else? I Love Kanye, Real Friends. It wasn't like a DJ album, but it was like, I like listening to this album. And then after that, it was sort of, I had no interest in a lot of the stuff after that. Yay, Kids See Ghosts with Cudi. Jesus is King, which I don't remember. Oh, that was like his like gospel thing that he did.
Right.
And then Donda and now Vultures 1. I would assume we're going to see a Vultures 2 at some point.
Probably in the near future, like very near future.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of how that rolls. I don't know. I'm going to give it a listen and see what I think. But I know like the last few albums I haven't really been feeling. That's why I didn't jump at it.
Yeah.
The tracks definitely have liked tracks, but not full albums.
I'm going to give this a full run today. I'm going to listen to Vultures 1 straight through in the gym. And I'll be able to give you guys a better review. All right, let's wrap here. Anything we want to? Oh, let's promo Beats Bartenders Brushes. Our monthly networking open decks event is back. Yes. So you guys are gonna. It's what, next Tuesday? So Tuesday,
I'm
March
right
12th at Wicked
12th.
Wolf, Hoboken, New Jersey, 7 p.m. to 11. We'll put the ticket link in the show notes. It's free to attend or to sign up for the open decks. Guys, we have a lot of people signing up for the open decks. So, we're doing a randomizer and not everybody's going to get to play, but we're going to try to fit as many DJs as possible on the lineup. Please don't give us a hard time the night of the event. It's really hard. There's so many guys and girls that want to play. So we do our best. UFOso does his best. Timmy Vu does his best. Chubbs does his best. So bear with us.
Be easy to work with. Reference the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah, but definitely if you guys are able to come out, show some love, introduce yourself to some of the Get Down crew. And yeah, man, that's all I got.
All
right, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode. I'm on vacation starting tomorrow, so I'm gone for a week. Hopefully I'm not this pale when I come back. Catch a little tan. Let's go.
Yeah, you gotta look a little bit more like me here.
I know. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
All right, guys. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Get Down podcast. If you enjoy our show and find the topics entertaining or helpful in any way, we would greatly appreciate if you could subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you listen to it. We want to help more DJs, and subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show is the best way for us to do that. We appreciate all the love so far. Thanks for listening, guys.